This is Fred Beck from Fred Beck Fighting, proudly sponsored by Empire Fight Store in Stanbury. Very lucky, joined by, once again, Barry Jones. So, Barry, I looked on a YouTube studio and it's been 322 days since you were last on the channel. How have you been in that time? Nearly a whole year.
Yeah, it doesn't seem that long, does it, mate, to be honest? But yeah, I've been all good, mate. Well, I've seen you since then, haven't I? We got a train home from the York Hall, very recent ago, I think.
Yeah, that was I think that's Isaac Low card. Yeah, thanks for helping me get back. I would have got lost otherwise, because when it's like at 12 o'clock or nearly 12:30, is all the buses and trains get cancelled. So it's quite tricky. So thank God for your Google Maps. But what else have you been up to there, Barry? What else have you been doing apart from boxing? What else have you been doing?
Oh, not much, really. Like I said, I got a young family, so that's why I've keep putting you off today for like every sort of 20 minutes, because I went to watch Sing 2, which is a cartoon type film, which is really good, actually. I gotta be honest. I really enjoyed it. Yeah. So I've been sat with a massive bucket of popcorn and a drink bigger than my body, and yeah, I'm.
Is that not annoying as a dad having to go see all the kids' films? They're rated U and quite boring.
Well, some of them are, but like some of them are quite good. Like, I know you sort of dreading to go there, but obviously I got kids I got a kid who's an adult as well. I got a kid who's like in like 29 this year, but wow, so as well. So this is my second time of doing it. So I was doing it before when what was brand new then? The big purple dinosaur. I can't remember what he was called now. There was a big purple that was all brand new. It was like, it was just all the Spice Girls were brand new, and it was all there. It was just mad. So I'm doing it all again now with the brand new fads and cartoons, and yes, it's well, Beauty and the Beast just come out. There you go. When my daughter was very young, so yeah.
What other films? Do you watch a lot of TV? Like, you want to, not younger TV? Do you watch a lot of common TV now that's on live?
I sort of do. So I sort of like, I get into like little drama. I couldn't tell you the names of any of them. I get into little dramas and stuff, but I always watch like a few things regularly. So I watch The Sopranos, which I'm due to watch again, the whole series. Cause like, I remember I was sort of into it when it first came out, and it changed TV for the better. The Wire, of course, which is another fantastic program. The Shield. These are things that I sort of go through. Entourage, which is one of my favorites, just hilariously funny. Not PC at all. They couldn't make that now, actually. But it was a really, and it also, for anyone in their 20s, it was the sort of life that you and your friends always wanted. That was sort of endeared to me back then. Yeah, that's it really. Yeah. So I watched things like that.
Have you seen Breaking Bad?
I haven't, and I didn't commit to it because I watched the first few episodes and I didn't like it. So I didn't commit to it for some reason. But you get that. People say that about the Wire. I can't get it. So you got to stay with it because it's just fantastic. And there's other programs like that. But yeah, I haven't. No, I haven't watched it. I'm probably the only person who hasn't, probably. But yeah, no.
No, but Breaking Bad's quite a funny one because season 5's the best season. It goes the opposite way. Normally, season 1's the best season. Season 2's all right. It kind of gets worse. Yeah. Breaking Bad just gets better and better and better. But after the first, it took me like a good 5 episodes, and then you're in it, and then you're happy, you're kind of bored, or weren't as entertained watching those first 5 episodes. But you check Barry, it's on Netflix. You need to check it out. It's really good.
No, I've seen it. I mean, it's just just finding the time to commit to it. That's all. And yeah, and so I'm a night owl. So whenever I stay up to 2 o'clock in the morning, stuff like that. Even at this age now, and I've always been that way. So yeah, I'll when everyone goes to bed, I'll be watching stuff. For hours on end sometimes, yeah. But it'll be my old favourites. I sort of stick to, but it's because I kind of got like 4, 5, or 6 stuff that I like to watch. By the time I get through them all, it's been such a long time since I watched say Sopranos. It'll take me like 6 months to go through all the other ones of my favourites. Ballers is something that I sort of got into as well a few years back. So that's also on my list of stuff that I bought on Apple. Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, this is not Fred Talks TV. No, is it?
Well, I like to give always find it interesting because they always go straight into the boxing, don't they? And then, what are your thoughts on that fight? What are your thoughts on that fight? I find it interesting.
I tell you what I do. I have been doing it lately, and because I don't have Sky TV, I have Virgin TV, so I get Sky Sports through that. But so I don't know when that so I don't have access, I don't think, to Sky Sports online stuff or whatever it would be called, the on demand, I guess. They got the Top Rank back catalogue, so I keep searching, not religiously, for all, because they got, like, you've had like Hagler, Hearns, Duran, Barkley, Leonard and Hearns as well, Leonard, Duran. There's been some classic fights on, actually classic, and also ESPN. They have some sort of tie with BT Sports, so sometimes you get like a mad John Conte fight or something like that, or like a random Muhammad Ali fight, which is so yeah. So I sort of keep a lookout for that. So I tape as much as I can, and then when I get the time, I sort of binge watch.
But aren't all those fights on YouTube?
They are, but it just feels different. See, it's weird, isn't it? And I can watch YouTube on my TV as well. I understand that, but it just feels, I don't know why. It feels different. It's like watching. I do boxing for now because no major channel wants to use me anymore. So I mainly do stuff. A lot of my stuff I do is on the internet now, but I still prefer to watch it on TV, even though I'm watching YouTube on TV. It's a weird thing because you're from a generation where you just click a button, you don't have to go typing stuff in. So I don't know why it's different, but it is.
That's funny. That's funny what you said there about saying no major channel wants to have you as a pundit. So when I speak to people, they're always saying, "Oh yeah, they should have Barry Jones on that." Like I was talking to Peter Madonna on the phone today, and it was like, they should Barry Jones is one of the best pundits in boxing. They should definitely have him on those channels. Why is it you think that you're not a pundit on any of these channels?
Well, I don't know. For me to start saying what I know, what do I say?
You only care for your words, sir. Actually, yeah, that's a bit of a tricky question.
No, it's not. No, it's not. I'm going to care for my words because they very, like say BT, for instance, that it's highly likely they would have me back. They've used me and they've stopped using me and it was specifically, there was a reason for them. I don't know what the reason is, but there was a reason they stopped using me. It wasn't just I was a regular, of course, without the contract, like they all have, but I was a regular and then they stopped. They didn't want to use me, so there's a reason there. So it'd be highly unlikely I would go back there unless there was a massive change of personnel, I would have thought, because somebody somewhere there either doesn't like me or doesn't think I'm good enough. And you have to accept that. You always think it's personal and you try and look for reasons why, but sometimes they just prefer someone else or they just think someone else is better than you. And you can't. So I was hoping I was going to get a call off Sky for the one in Cardiff on Saturday, but I can't argue that they used Enzo McAnally instead because he had more success to me as a boxer because his career went on longer than mine, and he's good. So I can't say, am I better? Well, that's down to preference, isn't it? I can't say I'm better than Enzo. I can't say I'm better than Darren Barker or Andy Lee. You can't say that. That's an arrogant. I mean, I think I'm as good as, to be honest. But they all think the same. And I enjoy listening to them all. So I don't begrudge them, any one person to get a job. I'm happy for them all. But yeah, I don't know. So, and people like you get work where you get work, and that's how it works. You just got to keep plodding along. And when somebody want to use you, you just have to try and finish on friendly terms and hope if it ever comes another spot, you get a look in. And that's how it works.
Okay, I understand then. But you are a regular on the Boxing Social podcast, though, aren't you?
I am, yeah, I am. Which is nice. It's a bit, and that's it. And I think he's got a little niche there, Fred. And you got a niche on your own, Fred. But Rob's got a little niche there with that little sit down sort of thing. I think it's a good little hours of entertainment. It's like what it's similar to what we had on Box Nation with the Boxing Hour, or not so much the Boxing Hour, but then when we'd have me, Lillis, and Buncey, in the middle of the night for fights when you're at the mercy of the home broadcaster, so you don't know when the next fight's coming in. So we used to have sometimes an hour, 2 hours, hour and a half of nothing until we got a fight off one of the major channels in the States. So we would have to talk boxing. So it would be quite organic because we would just, Buncey would lead it with something and it would be relevant to the fight of the night or the venue or whatever it may be. But then we would go off on a tangent and we would just work our way through it until we got to some live boxing. And sort of Rob's little podcast in there on the sofa seems quite similar to that. So I quite enjoy that. And I like that he doesn't tell me what we're going to talk about. And I like that. So I don't like it because, I don't have stats and figures in front of me that I can work on. So, but also it's your honest opinion as well. And it's not a test of your knowledge because you're not expected to remember everything. I get stuck all the time for names of, or you might miss a champion because there's so many, but at least it's your honest opinion. And yeah. Otherwise, anyone can read and write stuff down and then go on a show and look informed. But they're informed, but they actually don't really have. You want someone's true opinion, not what they've read and written from someone else. That's where I feel.
Okay, I understand. It's very popular, that podcast. I always listen to it. If you just look at the comments, they always are. There's never the only negative comments you get for that podcast is, why isn't it not going for any longer? But yeah, but so we pretty much talked about everything but the fights that happened last night. I'm taking you watched it from your own house.
I did, yes, I did, yeah. Well, it was I wouldn't say a letdown. Well, I suppose I would say a letdown because the build-up, the anticipation, like I've said before, that when matching and domestically, that would have been high up on fights that people would want to see for excitement. You would have thought that was a guaranteed barnstormer, and it wasn't. Unfortunately, it really wasn't. And yeah, it was. So it was intriguing, but it wasn't a great fight to watch. And I suppose Eubank sort of has to take the blame for it, but also he did the right thing as well. He dominated early. I think Williams looked like he was boxing well and come out like he always does. He always boxes, Williams, but he's aggressive. But he got caught with not a heavy shot. It was a well-timed jab that he walked into, but he didn't just get hit off balance. So that can happen. Sometimes you walk into a jab when the guy steps in, you step in as well, and you get caught square-footed and you go down. But it wasn't just a balance. He was hurt, and that's a real worrying sign that you get hurt by a jab by a guy who can punch, but he's not a puncher. Eubank's not a massive puncher. He can punch his weight for sure. He can, and he can knock you out with either hand potentially. But he's not. That's not a Golovkin throwing a jab at you. It's totally different. And I think there's a worry about the resistance of Williams's chin. Certainly going down 3 times in 4 rounds, and not one of those shots looked really heavy. They were good shots. None of them were bad, but none of them looked really heavy. And you tend to think, oh, he's in trouble. But he bit down on the gum shield, showed loads of grit, determination, and he got through the fight and he tried to force the pace. He had a bit of a second wind, but the success he had tended to feel, even the rounds he was winning, it looked more that Eubank was giving him away rather than Williams was dominating, if that makes any sense. And you kept all through the fight, you've had a feeling that if Eubank would have put his foot on the gas, then he could have won that any of those rounds. And if Eubank would have really put his foot on the gas and committed to his attacks, then he probably would have got Williams out of there. That was the feeling throughout. So there was a frustration with the crowd and the audience, I guess, more on TV than in the arena because it was pro Williams, of course. But so it wasn't the fight that's the worry. See, if it wasn't built up to be such a big grudge match, and it's not a massive grudge match, Williams engineered a little bit of an issue building into the fight. But this wasn't a grudge match that's gone on for years. They had a few spats on Twitter, or maybe that's the new grudge match with spats on Twitter. But there was a big build-up that the anticipation was big for that fight. And if there wasn't that build-up, then it would have been an okay fight to watch. Because of the build-up of it and the anticipation and the expectations of what we thought we were going to see, it was slightly disappointing.
Do you think it was a shame almost that Eubank didn't push the stoppage or the finish?
Yeah, for him and for everyone, I think, except for Williams fans, for us neutrals, then yeah, because he had a chance there to make a huge statement to the world. It wasn't an eliminator. You'll probably get a world title shot off the back of that, but it wasn't. This wasn't really an eliminator for the world title. Eubank is highly ranked, and Williams has got a decent rating in the WBO. But in reality, that's not the case. They're not 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 in the world. They're not. Nothing wrong with that. I'm not slating them for that because that's a really hard position to get to. But they're not. But it means that you can build on it, and in this era as well, in this generation, you don't have to be sorry, my doorbell's rang and my massive, huge dog has got up on her feet now. That you don't have to be the best fighter in the world to get the opportunity. Sometimes big fights, where there's not to be the best fighter to be in big fights. You just have to be a marketable fighter. And then if you win a big fight in a marketable situation, then you get the opportunity to box for the world title. That's what usually happens. So he'll get his world title shot, but where does he go? Who does he fight? There's no easy touch for him. I got
the world champions up here in boxer. You got Golovkin, you got Charlo, and you got Andrade.
And Murata.
Not a middleweight. I got Lara is a World Boxing Association.
Oh, Lara. Well, isn't Lara the gold champion? What happened to?
And then it's quite confusing. This is quite good. Say a casual fan comes into boxing, it's so confusing with world titles. And then you've also OBA Super World is vacant. So that's the one. Maybe that's one he goes for.
Well, apparently the WBA made a statement before Christmas. They were gonna get rid of these regular titles and try and tidy themselves up and just have one champion per weight, which was, well done you. You caused a mess, and now you want a pat on the back for tidying up your own mess. But I thought Murata hasn't lost, so I don't see why he's not. And he's been a bit inactive, of course, but there's been COVID, and in Japan certainly they're not taking any chances for that. So I don't see why he's not still a champion, and I don't understand that. But Lara's, you'd fancy Lara against Eubank. He has a chance, but you still fancy Lara. Murata is probably his easiest chance to get a version of the world title. Golovkin, if he's old overnight, then that's his opportunity for him. But he doesn't beat Charlo in a million years. I just can't see it. And again, the problem is now, if you say somebody can't beat somebody, then you tend to be, you don't like him. Why don't you like him? Why don't you think he's any good? He is good. I don't think he's not. Sorry, I don't think he's not good. I just don't think he's up to that standard. And I think beating Liam Williams is a good win domestically. Certainly makes you number one in Britain, but theoretically makes you number one in Britain. But it doesn't mean that you're good enough to box for the world title. Why should it? Felix Cash is a hard. Who would you fancy in that if he has to box Felix Cash for a British and European title? I'm not quite sure. You tend to edge towards Eubank because of the experience he's had, but Cash is a real talent, and has looked solid as well. And so he might. And the way Eubank fights, especially the economical way he's fighting now, Cash has a really good chance there because he's not only a really technically good boxer, he's big for the weight, I feel, and he's busy. So it's an interesting one. But either way, Williams, it's hard for Williams to see when he comes back from this now, because that's another loss domestically. And he looked, it's weird, in the early rounds. I know he gets caught early in other fights and he gets shook up or he's been dropped, but he looked really worried about taking a shot in the early rounds. And then when he dug deep, but then if Eubanks with a pressure on him, I think he gets caught again. Every time he got hit, he looked a little bit wobbly. Every time he got hit with a decent shot, he looked wobbly. And it's only because he's a tough man that he got through it. But because he's a tough man, because Eubanks took his foot off the gas, or never put his foot on the gas. I think that's probably what the better way of putting it. Never really put his foot on the gas once. But also you got to give Eubanks credit. He looked. He went into a cauldron of heat there. Williams is a tough and hard man to keep quiet, and he did. And he looked composed and confident and calm, and he never panicked at any time. Even when he got caught with a few shots, he rode the shots well, or he takes a great shot. And that was the worry for Williams, the fact that Eubanks can take a good shot. So when he did clock him with one, there was no look. There was no look of desperation in Eubanks' work. And he looked comfortable, but too comfortable. And that's the frustration with Eubank. And I covered most of his early career. And there was always the frustration that you can just do so much more and look so better. And without taking massive risks, I feel. And still, he could have got Williams out there in those early rounds, six rounds, without taking a massive risk. A little bit of a risk, without taking a massive risk. But he didn't want to. And it wasn't because I don't know why. It's not because he wanted to punish him. That's rubbish. That is. He wanted the perfect, clear, clean shot to put him to sleep. That's what he wanted, and it didn't come. But apart from that, it was. I thought Williams would win it. Actually, to be honest, it was the few fights. When I first hear about a fight, I always have an instant judgment who I think is going to win in most fights, and I pretty much always stick with that because that's usually the right assessment. Unless something happens along the way which will make you think differently, I usually go with what my first thought is, because I know that I've had that thought before, all the pre-fight stuff where people come up with stories about this and stories about that. So, 24/7 shows used to show to almost help you and convince you to change your mind. And I stick with my first assessment. My first assessment when that fight was made was Eubank's too big for him. And then I went back and forth with it constantly. And then I sat with Williams being able to outbox him because I thought he could. I still think Williams is the neater and better boxer. The Eubank is the more athletic and bigger, but not the bigger puncher, but the better chin. And I think that was the deal. I think he was bigger, more athletic, and had a better chin.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, that's one of the great fights you got on February in Sky. Next week we got it's Sunday now, so I don't know when this video will go out, but next week we got Johnny Fisher. Well, we got Johnny Fisher's fight, and then we also got Daniel Jacobs versus John Ryder, Ali Pali, and then you've also got Khan Brook, you got Josh Taylor, Jack Catterall. Which fights out of those fights are you most excited for? Khan Brook?
No.
Really? Which one? Oh, you're a Josh Taylor fan, actually, aren't you? You'll go Josh Taylor.
And also because it's a more meaningful fight. Like, Khan Brook's a really fun fight. Like, but I'm not all sold in it, and I may become a little bit older. I'm not all sold in it like you've been on Boxing Social, so you've seen with the Tebbit and all his crew. They all love that fight. I'm not in love with it. It's a good fight. It'll be a fun fight and a good fight to watch, I think, because they're not the fighters they were, which means they probably take more punches. So it's not great for them, but it's more entertaining for us. But it has no relevance in the world scene, or I certainly hope it doesn't, because beating either one of those now at this stage of their careers shouldn't warrant them a world title shot. But you go back to what I said a few minutes ago: winning a big fight doesn't make you a world title contender overnight. But because it's a big fight with more publicity, nowadays you get a world title shot more off of popularity now, more than actual ability. But the Josh Taylor fight is Josh Taylor, the unified champion of the world, the only one we have, and one of the few there's ever been, and one of certainly the few we've had. So, and in the 4-belt era, the only one we've had, if I'm right with that. I'm pretty sure I'm right with that. And yeah, because Joe Kazagi had to give up one of his belts before he boxed. He had to give up the IBF before he boxed Kessler, didn't he? So yeah, so it's a huge. Yeah, Lloyd Hunnigan. Anyway, so but either way, I know you got to go back. You go back on yourself. But either way, he's a unified champion. It's a rare thing, and he haven't won it all. It hasn't been like if Catterall wins, he becomes unified champion, and he is. But it's one fight's done it all. Where Taylor's had to do it, with 3 fights against 3 different fighters and 3 different champions, and that makes it. He did it the proper way. Extremely difficult to do. And Catterall gets his shots, and so there's only one winner, I feel, for that fight. So, but I think it'll be a good fight to watch. And Taylor at home in Glasgow, it's got to be Taylor. It's got to be Taylor. That has significance in the world scene, because does he go up then? And does he want to stay at super lightweight and dominate? Or does he go up to welterweight and look for Crawford and Spence and have a rematch with Prograis? And there's great fights up there for him. So yeah, I think his following his career and his path is more worthy of my time than watching a one-off big hit of Khan and Brook.
Oh, okay, I understand then. I know you're a massive fan of Josh Taylor, but you've never actually met him. Apparently, you never met him, right?
No, yeah, of course I have. Yeah, met him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, of course I have. Yeah. He's not my mate. And I think I'm not mates with any boxers really, but I'm friendly with as many as I can be. But I don't get too friendly with them because certain stages of my life and my career and their careers, I've had to commentate on most of them. So you don't want to show bias, and also you don't want them to feel that they can critique your performance of, when you're critiquing theirs, if that makes any sense. I've had fighters in the past come up with and message me about they weren't happy with their commentary, and I'm like, I'm sorry about that.
Barry, who messaged you saying they're not happy with your commentary?
I'm not gonna say it. No, a couple of fighters have, but they haven't been. None of them have gone, wanker. None of them have been rude about it. To be fair, and so I responded in a respectful manner back. But I'm not here to massage your ego. That's the truth. I'm going to say what I think. You might think I'm wrong, but you might not think I'm wrong. You don't think I'm wrong when I'm saying good stuff about you. You think I'm wrong when saying bad stuff, not bad stuff, or not saying good stuff about you. Either way, but so sometimes doing my job, being over friendly with fighters can make it awkward in social situations or other stuff. When you do work on their fights, because you can work on a fight if you really like me working on a Josh Taylor fight. I could do it, and I've done it. And if I thought he lost, I'd say he lost. But it would be questionable. Like, I don't know him well enough to be falling in love with him or nothing like that. But it's when you're too pally with somebody, you're open to allegations of bias.
Oh, okay, that's quite interesting actually. Yeah, not getting too close to them. I guess you're a commentator and stuff, not getting too close to them, because then you want to get, even if you're not being biased, sometimes you still might be questioned about being biased, isn't it?
Yeah, it's weird because like interviewers and presenters need to be as friendly as they can with
well,
boxers.
Actually, Barry, say you're an interviewer and you're friendly with a fighter, normally you can get more out of them. You can get more your interesting information.
Yeah, of course, yeah. You need that rapport, and that's and when you don't have it, especially on big channels, you can lose your job if you don't have a rapport with the clientele or the product or whatever you want to call the fighters or sportsmen. So you need to have that rapport. You need to get close and friendly with them. But as a commentator, certainly in an individual sport, when you have to be honest about their performance and how they're acting or reacting, then impartiality is a very important thing, and it is, because you'll get scrutinized for it anyway, even when you don't care who wins. So most of the fights I commentate on, I might like one person more than the other, but ultimately I tend to tell myself, I don't care who wins. It sounds horrible, but I got to feel that way because it doesn't affect my life whoever wins. That sort of thing. And you have to say that, and that's how I try and approach it when I go into I sort of click off everything, even if some fighters will, some fighters winning might benefit my work. Say Kovalev and Anthony Yard. Like I think I got a bit of a telling off for that fight because I didn't give Yard any rounds, only one I think. And ESPN gave him a few more than I did, and I got a bit of some not him or his team, though they might have, but not to me. But some people moaned I didn't give him any credit, and I said, well, I actually think I gave him loads of credit, but I just didn't give him any rounds, and that's how I saw it. Now, bear in mind, you didn't want him to win. Someone said, and why would I say? Why wouldn't I want him to win? One, he's British, so I'd rather a British fighter win over a Russian. Though in boxing, it shouldn't be. You should, it's because it's such a personal sport. It should be who you prefer. It shouldn't be just because he's a home fighter. You should like him more than someone else. Because Ray Leonard boxed anyone, I wanted Ray Leonard to win. Dave Boy Green, Ray Leonard, because I was a fan of his. So, but either way, Yard winning that fight would be more beneficial to me because it's another payday on BT Sport at the time. So, but if I didn't think he won, I didn't think he was winning rounds. I can't say he's winning them. That's how you should be doing the job. I feel. But then, what do I know? Because I'm not really working for those channels anymore, so I obviously got that wrong. But yeah.
Okay, that's quite a cool way to think about it, actually. But you will be commentating soon. I spoke to Rob Tebbett nearly 2 weeks ago, I think, and he's definitely got some boxing social shows coming up. And I guess you'll be commentating on them.
He can't afford me, Rob. Like he's tight as assholes, isn't he? You know what I mean? But listen, I've done some of the best fights in the world. I've done small hall shows, and they're all enjoyable. Some shows are shit. I mean, I've done some shows on mainstream TV, and they've been rubbish. And I've done some shows on the internet, on YouTube, and they've been fantastic, standout shows, and vice versa. I've done some shitty shows for YouTube, and I've done some great shows for TV. But so you just take what you can get. To be honest, that's what we then around the corner. I'm doing the Commonwealth Games now in July and August, which should be interesting. The amateur boxing, so I'm looking forward to that. That'd be quite fun.
Okay, that's quite good then, Barry. Amateur boxing as well as a pro boxing. You never. That's good for my boxing. You never know. You never fully know who's going to win. Obviously, one punch can change anything, and sometimes it can be an amazing fight going into it, and then it actually turns out to be not as entertaining, and then the other way around. You thought it'd be a boring fight, but it's actually quite a good fight at the end. But Barry, we've been going for I think nearly half an hour here, so I'll let you go and go on the rest of the day. But where people find you, Instagram, Twitter, social media wise?
Oh, I don't care about that, mate. I'm not in it for followers. I think I'm Barry Jones Box on Twitter. Am I? And
I'll put it in the description. I'll put your Twitter in the description then.
On Instagram, I'm Barry Jones 90. I think I'm 1927 because that's the year that Cardiff won the FA Cup. So I'm Barry Jones 1927. Yeah, but don't follow me. I don't do anything. You know what I mean? Nothing at all. Though I have there's a picture of me getting knocked down by Freitas on my Instagram. If you want to see that,
there's a picture of your world title belt. That's quite a good one.
There you go. I put that to wind someone up. I think someone flagged me off. So I put it up there. I think. Yeah, but anyway, yeah, I'll change that. I know you told me it'd be something else.
Have you not got a world title belt in the room you're in right now? Is it not on a shelf or anything?
No, it's upstairs in the loft. But my loft is a converted bedroom, so it's but it's there. It's there in the corner, and it's so. Yeah. What am I going to put? Why? What am I displaying for what?
Josh Taylor has it. You've seen Josh Taylor's fireplace. It's got all 4 belts around it. You can have your belt.
Yeah, Josh Taylor's a prick. No, I don't. That's great, and it looks lovely. It looks lovely. If I had like an office, I'd maybe put them in there, but I don't. I don't need one. But I don't see the point of having them up. They're nice. They're lovely, and I'm proud of them. But what am I displaying them for? For me, the only one's going to see them most of the time is me. And also, I don't want my kids. This is another thing. I don't want my kids to see. Like, what do I get? I get my European medal from an amateur and all my Welsh vests and everything. Not all the trophies I won as a kid because there'd be no room in the house for them. But all the trophies, all the major trophies, as an amateur and the pro stuff, you put it all up. And then my boy, he plays football and gets a little medal. And I go, stick it between mine somewhere, mate. We won't be able to see it though. No, I don't want it. It's weird. I don't want him to see it. I don't want him to box. So I don't want him to see all that and go, oh, I want one of those. I don't want to encourage that. And I also, the only I got a trophy in my other room. We got a room back in room there, through the door, and and it's like a TV room really, pretty much. But that's his trophies up there. You got a football trophy and a couple of little medals, and I display his stuff. And
Barry, next time you go on the Boston Social podcast, take that belt in and put it on the table where you're sitting.
He only has WBC belts, doesn't he?
Yeah, but that's a smaller version of WBC belt. You got your full world title belt there.
Oh yeah, I got two belts. I got 2 of them actually. So I might take 2 of them there. Actually. Yeah, that's right.
Sometimes he doesn't introduce you as a former WBO world champion. So then he'll have a world title belt there.
Rob Tebbet's a first class prick. Like I can't even I like him and that and stuff, but when we get on, he's an asshole. Like, he'll go Andy. I said it's in the last podcast. He'll go Andy Clark of Talk Sport and whatever else he does, and they'll go formerly of Sky or still with Sky and Talk Sport and Macklin's taken Audie Aladipo of fucking DAZN and the Green Chair. I think that's a podcast he does, and then whatever else, Declan Warrington or whatever, Declan Taylor and all the papers and blah, and Barry Jones. He's boxed, and it's true though, because if Andy Lee was there or Darren Barker went on the chair, it was almost like trying to get off with Darren Barker. It was ridiculous. It was really good actually. Darren's like one of the loveliest men you could. I don't know him double well, but he's one of the loveliest men you can meet. Absolutely fantastic. So you can't begrudge him anything he gets in life because he's just a lovely man. Like really down to his core, he just comes across like a lovely bloke. So when you meet him, you just want to be around him. He's one of those sort of guys. So don't begrudge him a penny. But what I mean is, he fell in love with him. Oh, I got Darren Barker on the show. Darren Barker's it. I come on all the time. Don't give me shit. No respect.
You walk in, Barry, the 2 world title. If you've got 2 world title belts, walk in, both on your shoulder and sit down.
Yeah, but he'll just say something like, yeah, but the WBO or something like that,
I guess he can never win in the end, but Barry, I'm sure that we go for quite a long.
I could win. I'll just punch him in the head. What if I don't knock him out? So I'm not known as a puncher, am I? So I can punch him in now, actually. So really? I don't take the piss, Fred. I sort of found my power in like I got to like 28, and I sort of found a bit of power, like a bit of man strength. But I had my last fight at 25, so it was sort of a waste of time really finding it. So yeah, I could punch at 28. I retired at 25, so
at least you found it. At least you found it eventually, though. You know, lost and found.
Yeah. For what? For what? For shadow boxing.
You can get a nice little video. I saw a video of you hitting the pads the other day. You look like you punch.
Yeah, it's all smoke and mirrors, isn't it? So what amazing what you can do with an iPhone nowadays. Absolutely fantastic. I'm going to do the next video. I'm going to put hair on my head, and like explosions and everything when I hit. So yeah,
you can add some good sound. You can add some good sound effects like that, couldn't you? On the edit.
Yeah, that's where they were actually, because we had to down the song because everyone was laughing when I was on the pads and stuff, and you could hear me wheezing.
You need to go somewhere like really echoey. And then they'll really sound really loud, wasn't it? Like an empty room.
I feel you're being sarcastic now, Fred. Like, to be honest, so we'll go now, all right? Otherwise, the next time we come up from the York Hall, you won't make it home. I'll have you on a train to Leeds or something like that.
Well, then at least I can go to the Josh Warrington show when he fights Martinez.
Oh, Josh Warrington, is it? Let's go. Thanks, mate. Thanks for having me on. Anyway, I appreciate it.
Awesome. I'll catch you soon, Barry. Awesome.